Instead of jumping into Pokemon Emerald in this leg, we're tackling Pokemon LeafGreen. It and Fire Red actually released before Emerald, mainly to act as a way for players to continue to catch them all. The changes made to the series as we've progressed to this point are implemented, and there are some deviations to make note of as we go, but this adventure is by and large the same as it was back in episode 1. And with that in mind, Professor Oak leads us to the lab where we choose Root the Bulbasaur, our only option at this stage of the challenge. Root makes short work of Charmander, we run our little errand, receive the Dex and Pokeballs from Oak, and get the leg underway. Route 1 is where we catch Joey the Rattata. Long time no see, little guy. We catch Piglet the Mankey on Route 22, and Butters the Caterpie makes a triumphant return to us on Route 2. I'll use you this time, promise. Some brief training ensues with Pidgey and Rattata offering a ton of speed EVs. Butters evolves into Metapod, and the powered up team battles Blue the Third on Route 22. Joey opens with Tail Whip and then trades Tackle and Quick Attacks with Pidgey for the KO, cutting it close. Piglet's Leer and a couple low kicks take Charmander out, sending our rival packing. The gang then heads through Viridian Forest, defeating the bug catchers on our way to Pewter. We trade up to the cap, Butters evolves into Butterfree, hopefully for the last time this series, and we manage to catch Chew the Pikachu in Viridian Forest before we challenge Brock. I think it goes without saying the Root solos here. Vine Whip deletes Geodude, and Onix uses a Wurmple tier tackle before going down to Vine Whip. This isn't a joke, they have the same base attack stat. We receive some running shoes from Oak's aid and use them to run over to Mount Moon. Along the way, Root evolves into Ivysaur, and we buy Unagi the Magikarp from this totally legit seller. Mount Moon provides the team good XP through our skirmishes with Team Rocket, and we make it through to the other side without much issue. We even managed to find and catch Fabio the Clefairy and pick up the Helix fossil. On Route 4, we find and catch Pan the Sandshrew. Pan will redeem the Sandshrew family name after the blunder we had in Pokemon Gold, I'm sure of it. After Pan trains to catch up, we head past Cerulean and battle our rival again. Pan opens things up against Pidgeotto, nearly one-shotting with a crit Rock Tomb before finishing with Scratch. I send Butters in and Confusion takes Rattata out, then put Charmander to sleep before sending Pan back out. Rock Tomb is a 2-hit KO while Charmander naps, and Butters' Thief finishes Abra off, ending the battle. Pan's Rock Tomb frenzy continues as we cross the Nugget Bridge and make it to Bill's place. With this problem solved, we grab the SS ticket and head back to Cerulean to prep for a battle with Misty. Root, the early game menace, is the obvious frontrunner here, so I don't even bother training the entire team before making the attempt. Staryu outspeeds and uses Harden, and Vine Whip misses the KO. After a Super Potion, Water Pulse does nothing, and 2 Vine Whip finish the job. Root learns Razor Leaf on the level up, and Starmie is up next. Sleep Powder and Leech Seed connect after tanking Swift, and then 2 Razor Leafs get the KO and earn us badge number 2. We quickly retrieve the TM for Dig from the Rocket Grunt, teach it to Pan, and make our way to Vermilion. The trainers on the way there and in the cruise ship lead to Pan evolving into Sandslash, and we get another battle with Blue the Third underway. Pan's Rock Tomb is a 2-hit KO on Pidgeotto, and Root is nearly killed by 2 crit Hyper Fangs from Raticate. Holy shit, that was close. Literally 1 HP! Even with the Overgrow boost, Razor Leaf doesn't KO, so I send Butters in to finish the job. Blue the Third also pivots here into Charmeleon, so I put it to sleep before sending Pan in to KO with Dig. Raticate returns to the field, but Rock Tomb KOs, and Butters KOs the final Kadabra with 2 Thief attacks. We grab the HM for Cut, and use it to get into the Vermilion Gym, where Pan sweeps the trainers. During training, we accidentally kill the Diglett we encountered in the tunnel, and catch Meowsy the Meowth on Route 6. Meowsy may not be a mainstay, but will take up a spot on the team for now to take advantage of her pickup ability. Some of Route 11's trainers provide us enough XP to challenge Surge. Pan's Dig Oko's Voltorb and Pikachu, and Slash is a crit Oko on Raichu for the win. Damn, that was easy. Before continuing on the journey, we head back to Route 11 to clear the remaining trainers out, and Joey evolves into Raticate. We then grab the HM for Flash, the Old Amber, a bike, and head to the Rock Tunnel. Aside from catching lifts the Machop, the tunnel is as uneventful as ever, and we make it to Lavender with no trouble. Instead of heading straight for Blue the Third in the Pokemon Tower, we head left to Route 8 and eventually to Celadon City. Home of the Game Corner, I take the opportunity to get our gamble on. This feature doesn't stick around for much longer. I am capitalizing on it hard. We net the ever essential TMs to bolster our power, but more importantly than that, we obtain Guillotine the Pinsir as an encounter here. This should be a fun addition. She's another mon I've never tried using before. Guillotine takes point as the team trains up, and she learns Rock Sled from a tutor in the rock tunnel before we challenge Erica. Guillotine has to work for it, but persistence eventually secures the KO on Erica's lead victory bell. Paralyzed and down to a third of her health, Guillotine manages to KO Tangela before handing things off to Butters. Sleep Powder connects, and Confusion steadily chips away at Vileplume before finishing it off and ending the battle. This was probably the least suited to battle Erica we've ever been, but it still ended in a deathless win. With the 4th badge in hand, we head back to the game corner, for plot reasons this time, and challenge Team Rocket. The grunts are fodder, and we make it to Giovanni to battle for the Sylph Scope. Root's Razor Leaf, Oko's Onyx, and Rhyhorn to start. I use Sleep Powder and Leech Seed on Kangaskhan, and then send Guillotine in to clean up with Brick Break and Secret Power. Root evolves into Venusaur, and we take our prize with us back to Lavender Town. We are a tad overqualified to battle him here, but we battle Blue the Third nonetheless. Pan's Rock Tomb and Slash KO Pidgeotto, and Butters is put to sleep by Execute. Butters doesn't feel like working too hard this time, so I send Guillotine in to handle Execute, the following Charmeleon, Gyarados, and Kadabra for the win. We then quickly climb the tower with Butters in the lead, catch Shade the Ghastly, and make it to the Restless Marowak Spirit. Root helps her pass on, and we rescue Mr. Fuji, receiving the Poke Flute. We head south to Route 12, starting our slog through its trainers to Fuchsia City. Heading this way first comes with 2 benefits. First, we wake up and catch Sleep God the Snorlax. I'm using him this time. Snorlax is my best answer for Sabrina later down the line. Second, we pick up the Super Rod. The Super Rod greatly expands our encounter choices, and I use the rod to find and catch Patrick the Staryu in Vermilion City. This is it. The leg is officially in the bag now. Using a Water Stone we bought in Celadon to evolve into Starmie, and arming it with the TMs we painstakingly earned in the game corner, Patrick is the carry to end all carries. In order to minimize mindless grinding, Patrick takes point as we start to clear out the Sylph Company building. Having learned my lesson from how badly this went in yellow, I steer clear of a rival battle for now and get back on track. We head to Celadon to defeat the other Snorlax, then take on the goons of Cycling Road as we head to Fuchsia. Fuchsia's gym trainers are easily handled, so we clear the Safari Zone for our HM Surf and Strength, and continue our training to challenge Koga. We don't reach the cap, but Patrick's Psychic attack should be all we need. Coughing is an Oko, but Muck is not. Oh, okay. It tanks the first hit and uses Minimize before being healed. We immediately start missing, but eventually get the KO. Coughing number 2 goes down to a single Psychic, and Weezing does as well, ending the battle. Now that we can use Surf to get around, the team continues their training on the water routes south of Fuchsia and head to Saffron's fighting dojo right afterwards for free XP. Now we can challenge Blue the Third. Guillotine defeats Pidgeot despite the matchup, and Patrick is able to Oko Charizard with Surf. Gyarados is taken up by Thunderbolt, and Execute is defeated by Butters. Sleep God then Okos Alakazam with Shadow Ball, proving that my Sabrina game plan is solid. We then finish clearing Team Rocket out and challenge Giovanni. Patrick Psychic Okos Nidorino, then a combo of Psychic and Surf KOs Nidoqueen. Guillotine handles Kangaskhan, and Root cleans Rhyhorn up for the win. I let Sleep God lead as we defeat Saffron's gym trainers, and then challenge Sabrina proper. Hopefully I don't come to regret not grinding to the cap. Shadow Ball Okos Kadabra, who sets up Reflect first, and Mr. Mime peppers in damage with Psybeam before finally going down to Shadow Ball. I guess the heals helped ensure the Reflect would fade in time for a real threat. Venomoth is taken out with 2 Flamethrowers, and Alakazam is sent out. Calm Mind is used, but the physical Shadow Ball is an Oko, exactly as planned. The physical special split will have things to say about this in the next gen. We head over to Cinnabar Island next and gain access to the gym by going through the Pokemon Mansion. This gym is Patrick's to sweep, and sweep it does. After surfing all over the gym trainers, we challenge Blaine. Surf is an Oko on the lead Growlithe. Blaine's Ace Arcanine is sent out next and is also one-shot by Surf. Ponyta goes down next and Rapidash follows suit. With Badge 7 in hand, our first major deviation from the original adventure takes place. Bill has us escort him to one island of the Sevii Islands where he nerds out with his buddy Celio. We then get sent on a side quest. First, we go to 2 Island to make a delivery and find out this guy's daughter is missing. Then we head to 3 Island and take on a bunch of thugs from Kanto. With that sorted, we search for Lostel, quite the appropriate name. Bring her to her old man, hand off the meteorite, and head back to Celio at One Island. All in all, this was a nice diversion. We gained XP through the added battles. It added new areas to the world of Kanto that previously didn't exist, and also acts as a more special home for Moltres, who we ultimately don't even bother looking for. With that side story dealt with, we can return to the mainland and continue on. We head to Viridian City and take on the gym trainers, then train to the cap before getting our final gym battle underway. Surprise, surprise, Patrick Surf takes Rhyhorn, Dugtrio, Nidoqueen, Nidoking, and another Rhyhorn out in one hit each, and the battle is over. The carry to end all carries, damn it. Another slight deviation occurs here. Since the champ's ace is only level 63 instead of 65, the average and our last level cap is only 59 this time around. Up next, Blue the Third. Guillotine once again defeats Pidgeot, this time with a bulk up in Rock Slide. Brick Break KOs Rhyhorn, and I pivot into Patrick to KO Charizard with Surf. Butters KOs Execute with Silver Wind, and lands Sleep Powder on Alakazam, who was starting to get a bit too scary with the Calm Minds. I send Sleep God in and KO with Shadow Ball, averting a disaster, then send Brute Root in to deal with Gyarados. Even with the rain, Hydro Pump tickles and we set up Leech Seed and Toxic to slowly but surely take it out. Victory Road is then quickly traversed and the team trains up to the level cap. Time to finish this leg off. The game plan against Lorelei is to have Guillotine bulk up, then sweep. Thankfully, Brick Break is an OHKO on Dugong after one bulk up. Cloyster tanks Rock Slide and is healed before finally accepting its fate. Rock Slide flinches Slowbro and Earthquake KOs right after. Lapras survives Rock Slide, then hits hard with Surf. It eats its Citrus Berry, but is taken out right after. Jinx is Lorelei's last mon, and it goes down to Rock Slide for the win. So far so good. Just in case something goes wrong, I don't lead with Patrick against Bruno. Instead, Butters is the lead. Giga Drain OHKOs his lead Onix, and Hitmonchan is sent out and immediately put to sleep. Dream Eater does massive damage and is a 2-hit KO as a result. We repeat the play when the Ace Machamp is sent out, but Dream Eater is a crit OHKO instead. Hitmonlee falls for the same ploy, and Onix number 2 gets Giga Drained for the win. I knew this Butters was the right one to play to the end with. Against Agatha, Sleep God is the lead. Shadow Ball OHKOs her first Gengar, and I send Pon out to be confused by Golbat before sending Patrick into KO with Psychic. Arbok goes down to Psychic as well, and Sleep God returns to the field against the Ace Gengar. Unfortunately, we're put to sleep and hit with Nightmare, so I send Brute Root in. Brute Root also falls asleep, so Butters comes back out and puts Gengar to sleep instead. Dream Eater then crits and OHKOs Gengar. Sleep Powder and Dream Eater once again KO the final Haunter and end Agatha. Butters the silent assassin over here, man! Now that we're up against Lance, it's finally Patrick's time to shine. Thunderbolt OHKOs Gyarados, Ice Beam then OHKOs both Dragonair, the Ace Dragonite, and Surf OHKOs Aerodactyl. Blue the Third isn't ready for what's coming. Guillotine leads against Pidgeot, and we set up 2 bulk ups and are hit with Sand and Aerial Ace before getting the KO with the Rock Slide. Earthquake eventually OHKOs Rhydon, and I pivot into Patrick to contend with the Ace Charizard. Surf just misses the mark, and we're dropped dangerously low by the Fire Blasts. Charizard's Citrus Berry takes it out of full restore range, so we pick up the KO with a second Surf. That was huge. Thunderbolt then OHKOs Gyarados, and when Executor is sent out, I pivot into Butters. Butters puts the Palm to sleep, then uses Silver Wind, but it wakes up quickly and puts us to sleep instead. Sleep God is also put to sleep, but the Chesto Berry it's holding comes in clutch and Shadow Ball takes it out, and Alakazam as well. I called it. You don't lose with a Starmie on the team. Volt Beam is too damn good. That being said, Guillotine and Butters really showed up for this gauntlet, and we have ended this leg deathless again. The Bulbasaur, Caterpie, Sandshrew, Staryu, Munchlax lines, and Pinsir are banned now, but we have one more battle I want to take on. The E4 and Rival come back with a vengeance for a post-game challenge, so it'll be fun to see how our team does against the powered-up Blue. We train to a level cap of 75 and breeze past the E4 to challenge our rival one last time. Blue the Third leads with a Heracross this time, and I lead with Pun. We set up Swords Dance, and then use Aerial Ace to OHKO Heracross. I pivot into Butters, who is unfortunately put to sleep by Executor, and then Brute Root is hammered by Psychic. I send Sleep God in, who repeats its strategy to less than ideal results, so I'm forced to send Patrick in, who KOs with Ice Beam. I send Guillotine out and use Earthquake to eventually KO Alakazam, who seemed intent on setting up and nothing else. Tyranitar is sent out, setting up a Sandstorm, and goes down to Brick Break. Charizard is then taken out by Rock Slide. Guillotine is not here to play. The last Pokemon on his powered up roster is Gyarados. Rock Slide doesn't KO, and it starts to use Dragon Dance before being healed. Uh-oh. We get a Bulk Up in, and Rock Slide still doesn't KO, but the Sandstorm that his own teammate set up earlier takes Gyarados out and nets us the win, maintaining our Deathless status. That was fun. On to Fire Red.